to another episode of Spoiled. I am Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and with me as always, the lovely
Grand Tiff Tarkin.
Yes, and she's real, not CGI or anything. I can attest to it. She's actually there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I know this is a little overdue, but today we're going to review Rogue One, and we're going to do it, as the show says, there's going to be spoilers. So if for some reason you have not seen Rogue One yet, I'm sorry, but
You've had your time.
You've had your chance. We've seen it twice now. And so we are going to talk about it a little bit. Tiffany, what was your initial reaction to Rogue One as you came out of the theater?
I was surprised. I thought it was good. It was Star Wars. It's still going to be good. But it was just there for me.
Yeah.
It was good. It wasn't awesome. It didn't blow me away like Force Awakens did.
Okay, so now that was kind of how I felt too. I walked out and I was like, wow.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't
I enjoyed
awesome.
it. It was good.
It was just there.
But I'm going to be honest with you. So when I first heard the idea of what they were doing, right, I thought, that sounds cool, but I don't know if I need to see that in a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe a book, but I don't know if I need to see it in a movie. And then as it came time for the movie to come out, I was starting to get a little excited about it and starting to feel like, hey, no, I'm really on board with this. When I walked out, I was like, well, I'm glad I saw that. I still don't know if I needed to see that in a movie, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yes.
Now, before all of you haters go on and say, you just don't understand Star Wars, and you just don't get it. Look, come over to my house sometime. I'll show you how much I have invested in Star Wars, okay? I get Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Some people say I love Star Wars a little too much. I have an entire room in my house dedicated to Star Wars, and actually two if you count the Star Wars bathroom that we have, okay? So, but my office is all Star Wars. I mean, I literally have a lot of collectibles and things like that. So, it's not that I don't get it. It's not that I don't understand what it is. Look, it's different. It's just different. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that it's bad. But, so let's kind of...
better than the prequels, though.
Yes, so let's kind of jump in a little bit. We have our main characters that we meet. So first of all, man, this movie really needed a crawl.
Yes.
Needed an opening crawl.
It was way too just sudden. Here's the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and I've heard
all... something short would have made a difference.
I get it. I've heard all the reasons why, it's not a saga movie. And I hear, what Kathleen Kennedy said about how they just didn't want to...
But it's still
they're going to make that because there are certain things that belong in the saga movies. But you even still started it off with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Just do the crawl.
It's got the Death Star. It's got Darth Vader. It's got Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. It's got Grand Moff Tarkin in it. It's got Mon Mothma. It's got it's got R2-D2 and C-3PO in it.
For a hot second.
Why couldn't you have just done a little crawl? And I think a lot of people actually who didn't know anything about Star Wars, there was a lot of stuff in this movie that was for us as the diehard fans that we were looking for. And that was cool. But I think that it needed a crawl. Now, that being said, the way that it did open, I didn't have a problem with it. If they weren't going to have a crawl, that was fine. But with the cold open and then you got Rogue One, why didn't they use this logo?
Yeah.
Can somebody tell me why they didn't use this logo? Look, I've got iMovie on my phone, and I could have done what they did. With just using that little yellowish outline to make it kind of look like that. I don't understand it. It looked really cheesy, and I know a lot of people have said that already in their reviews, but that's just how it looked. I liked the backstory on Jyn.
Yes.
Getting to see her and her dad and her mother, and Krennic, and I liked...
How they all tie in.
Yeah, I really liked that. I liked that they had an escape plan for Jyn, kind of knowing...
Guess when your dad works on the Death Star, you kind of need to have an escape route.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then Saul Guerrera, Forrest Whitaker, comes and saves her. So that was all really cool. I like that. And then you skip forward. They have captured her. Well, I don't know if they captured her. Well, no, they didn't capture her.
She was sitting in like a jail of sorts.
Yeah, so
she's
so they come in.
Rebel.
I liked seeing the stormtroopers being much more just kind of dirty
Yeah.
and gritty. You know, like that one.
For a new movie, it was very old-fashioned, like the old movies.
Yeah, when they're in that transport and they're transporting Jin on the penal planet or whatever that is. I wish we could have seen more of that.
Yeah.
A little bit more of like the army, or not the army camps, but the prisoner camps and stuff like that. That would have been cool to see. But I like that one stormtrooper who's just like sitting in the corner, just like, oh man, we got to go through this again.
A long day.
Yeah, it's been a long day. Exactly. So character-wise, Jyn Erso.
Yes.
What did you think?
I thought she was really good. I thought she was great for a female lead. I did think that Force Awakens is a very much stronger female lead with Rey, but I liked Jyn for what she was, and I thought she did a great job of leading the people and trying to get them involved, and I thought she did great. It just wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't Rey. She wasn't a leader like her. So
Yeah, I think one of the things that this movie suffered from.
I don't want to say I don't like Star Wars, but
I know. I think one of the things this movie suffered from was you didn't have as much investment into each one of these characters. The Force Awakens introduced new characters, but we really got to know Rey. And there's tons of stuff about Rey that we don't know, but we liked her character. Yes. And even with everybody complaining about Kylo Ren, you wanted to know more about him and where he's from and what he's doing and why is Hux such a jerk and who is Snoke and all these different questions and things. You didn't get that from these characters a lot. It was very much, especially in the first part of the movie, almost half of the movie it was really slow. I did like how they jumped from planet to planet, and they did something new in Star Wars where they showed you where they were with those planets. But it jumped around a little bit too much. But it was definitely a war movie.
But it had nothing to do with being in between, knowing what happens after that. It still wasn't the investment we felt that you didn't
feel like you had enough time. Like I know I didn't, to warm up to the characters before they were involved in stuff.
Except for my favorite.
Yes, well, we'll get to that in a second. So, and then there's Cassian. And he was a cool guy. He's kind of a Han Solo-esque kind of guy, and he was all right, but it was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen's character, I really liked him. I would have liked to have actually had them flesh him out a little bit more. Man, my favorite of all of them, of course, was
K2SO.
He stole the show, man, and he was the only one when he died.
Yes,
and he's the
robot. I was upset about.
He's a robot, and when he died, it was like, oh man.
And the first time you see him, he literally chokes Jen and was like, "Excuse me, thank you. Just get ready for this. You're now being."
You're being rescued.
Yes.
Congratulations, you're being rescued. So I like that.
And he had sarcasm more so than C-3PO.
Oh man, well C-3PO is more neurotic and just kind of.
But it was funny when they were getting on the ship and they were all planning for this, and he's like, "You do realize that giving her a blaster, what percentage that means that she may use it on you?
Yes,
it's pretty high."
So as for the rest of the characters, they were all fine. We didn't really get to know that much about Saw Gerrera in
as much as we thought. I actually liked Maze more than because I felt like we connected with him more with Chirrut.
Yeah, Chirrut was great. Like I said, Donnie Yen's character was good.
Some people made fun of him a little bit because of that, but I feel that with him being blind, it kind of made him more in tune with the Force. When he turned sideways like this with his staff and listened to where the troopers were and then just kicked their butts, I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, so I like that, right? But Star Wars fans, you tell me what you think. Is it just getting to the point where apparently if you're blind
you're stronger in the Force
in the Star Wars universe, it doesn't matter. I mean, we look at Chirrut.
Sight beyond sight.
Chirrut, and he's a Force user to some extent,
He's one with the Force, and the Force is with him.
I love that. when he was saying that, when he was chanting that was just great. But his blindness didn't affect him at all, really. And we see that with Kanan on Rebels.
Yes.
That Kanan, why make him blind if he's going to be out flying starships and fighting with people, lightsabers and everything else? I mean, I don't know.
What do you guys think of that?
Why even do it? Why even do it if it's not going to affect the character in a negative way and give them an obstacle they have to overcome? But so that's that. So the movie progresses. I liked how they showed that the Rebel Alliance was not just squeaky clean. You know, I like when Cassian shot the other rebel guy.
Yeah,
you know, because he was wounded and he wasn't going to be able to get out of there. I like that because it shows that, you know, they were people having to make tough decisions in a time of war.
Yes.
And so that was fine. I also I like that, you know, they weren't telling Jyn, but they were there to take her dad out. Yep. They didn't understand what was going on, and they were there to take him out. I like the fact, though, that Cassian couldn't find it within himself to do it.
Yes, he had the shot and didn't take it.
Yeah, so that was all good.
Even though her dad ended up dying in the end, it wasn't by Cassian's hand.
Yeah, so all the stuff with Krennic, I like that Krennic was constantly trying to get approval, yes. Right? He wanted credit for what he had done, and you know, and so let's talk about Grand Moff Tarkin. When they first showed him, and they showed his reflection in the window, I thought, you know what? That's very clever.
Yes.
That is going to be great if that's how they show him. And then they showed him the first time face on, and I was like, okay.
Pretty good animation.
But when they kept going back to it, that's where I had my issues with the CGI. The CGI is great. I think that it's not quite where it needs to be yet.
So if you overuse it, it kind of takes you out of it.
Yeah, but, you know, but I understood why Tarkin needed to be in the movie. And I love the fact that Tarkin was the way that he was with Krennic, yes. Just kind of slapping him down each time. You know, so, excuse me. So they have that battle there. Galen Erso is killed. I love the fact that he got to see his daughter one more time.
Yes.
You know, and that kind of solidified her push to be a part of the Rebel Alliance and to see this through. Let's talk Darth Vader. So we see 2 scenes with Darth Vader in this movie, and the first one is for me. The second one was awesome. Now this is where some Star Wars fans out there, you're gonna think and hear you already because I've already been told this here on YouTube, and that is they meticulously went and recreated the original costume. Well, I've watched A New Hope since watching Rogue One. And that first scene, it does not look like the original costume. That neck piece sticks out, way out here. It looks like something that you got, like a helmet that you got from Party City or something. You know, there was like a cheap costume. And I didn't like the fact that even though it was James Earl Jones' voice, now upon the second time seeing it, it sounded more like it to me. But still yet, it seemed like when you watch the original trilogy, and I've watched those movies since seeing Rogue One, because I wanted to match it up and see what the deal was. In the original trilogy, when Darth Vader talks, it feels like that voice is coming from that person. Yes. In watching Rogue One, it didn't. It felt like you were listening to a recording with the guy standing there. How did you feel about that?
I felt the same way in the fact that they were trying to make it fit, but it just was something that didn't work well for the scenes that he had in the beginning, at least, because it just felt like it was forced. It, like the same thing you said, it was disconnected. It kind of went with the feel of the entire movie. So maybe that's...
Yeah. I love the castle where Darth Vader was.
Yes.
That it was on Mustafar. That was amazing. I loved seeing that. That was great. It looked great. It just felt right.
So that it fueled his anger and everything that happened.
Yeah, I liked seeing Darth Vader in the Bacta tank.
Yes. That
was cool. That you could just barely make him out, but you could see the damage that was done, and that is something that is different from Legends of the stories being told of Darth Vader before. It was told before that he could not get out of his suit at all. That the only relief that he had from the suit was in his pressurized meditation chamber that we see in The Empire Strikes Back, where he was able to take his helmet off, but that was all he got. So he felt very confined and constricted in there. But we see now that he was able to actually get out of the suit and to be in the Bacta tank. And so that was pretty cool. And I really enjoyed that. And yes, It was verified that the guy who kneels before him in the hooded outfit is one of the guys from Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
One of the people who are kind of like I don't know, supporters of Palpatine, and people that encourage and talk about stuff like that. So that was cool. But this move, no,
it's like the I'm squishing your head.
Come on. If you're gonna choke him, Vader, everybody knows that's the move right there. This is not the move. It was just weird. I didn't mind the little quip, the little joke.
Yes.
I didn't mind. I know a lot of people have. I didn't mind that so much. But so that's what it was. Now, at the end, oh my goodness. Okay, so before let's just jump ahead and talk about the Darth Vader scene at the end. As soon as it got dark and quiet,
yes,
and you saw at the end of that hallway, I just waited for that lightsaber to ignite. You knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
It was telegraphed, but it was still awesome.
Very nice.
That is great. Now, there had been talk that they were going to explain maybe why Darth Vader was a little slower fighting Obi-Wan in A New Hope. They did not go that route at all. They went completely opposite and said, hey, 2 days before he was fighting Obi-Wan looking like an old man, no, man, he was flipping guys upside down, cutting them in half, slamming them up against the ceiling and everything else. And I just loved, he's just mowing through those guys.
Yes.
Mowing through those guys. A Vader that we've always wanted to see.
Yes.
And finally got to see. And how those guys were just desperate. Those rebel soldiers just desperate to get those plans to somebody and get it off ship. So let's also talk about the how they go to Scarif. Now this is something I noticed, and I don't think anybody else has noticed, and because nobody else has said anything. I at least have not seen anything about it. But did anybody else think that they were doing a parody of Spaceballs? I mean, in Spaceballs, Druidia is covered by
a dome.
A dome. It's a shield that they keep all the air in, and they have
hundreds of years of air.
And they have an airlock system, and that's all I could think of, man. When they were trying to get in there, it's like, no, they're trying. The Empire's not really holding the plans there. They're just trying to take all of Scarif's air. It was like a movie parodying the movie that parodied it.
It's like a fourth wall break.
There you go. But but hey, it was cool. The space battle.
Yes.
Perfect. I loved seeing Red Leader and Gold Leader again. That CGI was great. I loved the fact that a lot of people didn't catch it, but Red 5 died in the battle, leading the way for Luke to take that call sign.
Yep.
So that was very cool. And then we got to see the Ghost from Rebels, the ship.
Yes.
Now, what do you think of that?
I thought that was very cool, and it makes me wonder if they're going to tie anything in going forward with that.
With the show.
Because they also called Hera's dad's name over the intercom.
No, it was Hera. General Syndulla. I believe it's definitely her. And they said that apparently she's going to get promoted on the show.
Which would be awesome, just to see where they can tie that in.
So yeah, so we got some cool little references in there. There's a lot of Easter eggs. There's plenty of videos online that you can hear and see all the Easter eggs.
The one thing that I actually did like that made me think that I will look a little bit at New Hope differently when I see it again is the fact that we always knew that there was a spot to be able to take down the Death Star and little things like that. But to actually know that it was Galen that caused that to happen, to make that work, I thought that was very cool, and that was just a little thing that they changed. That's the one good thing that I thought was cool to take away from it.
I thought seeing Jedha was cool.
Yes.
And obviously there's some connection there with the Jedi. I mean, it's Jedha. Yeah. So
and there's kind of one that looks like in a mountain in the ground.
I'd like to see more explore that though, and learn more about Jedha. But that was still a really great part of the movie. Like I said, it's not that we hated the movie. We didn't hate the movie. There was a lot of great stuff in the movie.
Yes.
It was just a thing of. It was too quick. There was not enough time to explore, introduce these characters, get you to fall in love with them.
To get attached to them.
And then be able to move forward. But, hey, it's only, a little over a 2-hour movie, so what are you going to do? But that battle at the end was great. Everybody dies.
Because they're not in A New Hope, but they all had their own scenes near the end, which were very cool, just to see how they all kind of went down, which was kind of cool too. Just seeing how Chirrut and how Baze and how all of them had their own little battles before the planet explodes.
I thought Chirrut had a really great death.
Yes.
And I liked how is it Baze?
Baze Malbus.
Baze Malbus. How after his friend died that he went out and just, suicide mission kind of deal.
To quote Man of Steel, a good death is its own reward.
That's right. That was really cool. Yeah, and then, somebody pointed this out, my friend Jessie pointed this out, and I really could appreciate it after she said it. I was really glad that Jyn and Cassian never kissed.
Very good.
Yeah. You could tell that there was something there between them.
There was an embrace, but it's probably, hold me, planet's going to explode.
Yeah, but they didn't just, go there with it.
Yes.
And I like it that Krennic had to look up there at the last minute, see the Death Star on the horizon, and just know that he was dead. There's nothing you can do, right? And so that was all done really, really well. There was a lot in this movie that was done really, really well. Now, let's talk about the very end. The Tantive 4 takes off. We know where that's going. They come around the corner. They bring Princess Leia the plans. Everything inside me kept saying, please don't turn around. Please don't turn around. Please don't turn around.
And she turned around.
And she turned around. It took me a second to realize that they hadn't just recast her.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like her from
It was almost they had to put it in focus just to see.
Yeah, it didn't really quite look like her from the side profile. When it was straight on.
It did.
Yeah. Now, what did you think of that?
I think it goes back to the Grand Moff Tarkin, the animation, to not overuse it, but she only said it gives us hope. It was only one line. So to me, it was just cool that they didn't use something from the movie. They didn't recast just for that one line. I actually didn't mind the animation just because it made it look more like Carrie Fisher when she was that age.
And I have to admit, now knowing what we know now about Carrie Fisher and the fact that she has passed, I can appreciate it.
Yes.
Because it's like one of those nice little things that it gets you right here, as a Star Wars fan, now that she has actually passed on. And so overall, I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was great. I don't agree with Kevin Smith saying it was Empire Strikes Back great.
No. I thought Force Awakens was better. But this was better than the prequels, so it's kind of...
Yeah, I would say the original trilogy is still there for me, and I would say that I enjoyed The Force Awakens more than I did this movie, but it's kind of right there in that same, thing. But it is ahead of the prequels for me, because I think that it was really done well, and it's something that, like, when it comes out on Blu-ray, will definitely be part of our watching, because it leads right up there. I love the fact that they connected it right to A New Hope. So that brings us to the moment. Tiffany, 1 through 5, what would you give Rogue One, A Star Wars Story?
I still love you because you're Star Wars, but I would give it about a 3 because it wasn't awesome, but it wasn't bad. It was right in the middle for me.
I will give it a 3.5 just because, man, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader at the end. And the first Darth Vader scene kind of takes back a little bit. So that's why I wouldn't go full on 4 with it. So I'm going to go 3.5. But hey, what did you think of Rogue One? Why don't you let us know down in the comment section. If you like this video, what should they do?
They should like it.
They should like it. That's right. They should give us a thumbs up. Because for some reason I hear that affects the video now here on YouTube. So I don't know really what that's all about. But hey, give us a thumbs up. And hey, if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Come on.
You need to do it.
You need to subscribe.
Everyone's doing it.
Hit the subscribe button because that's what we do here on this channel. We like to have conversations. Leave a comment down in the comment section.
Tell about us too.
Yeah, hey.
Tell your friends.
Leave a comment down in the comment section. We like to answer the comments that we get, and we like to have a conversation because we are fans and we know you are fans, and so we like to talk about Star Wars and superheroes and all kinds of fun, cool stuff here on the channel. So That's about it for our Rogue One review. Until next time, I am Enosh, aka Enosh Fett. And with me as always...
I am Tiffany, also Grand Tiff Tarkin.
Yes, and she is real, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, she is.
Not CGI'd Tiffany.
Not CGI at all. We'll see you next time here on Spoiled.